Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. So as you can see on the 4-hour chart, there's not much going on. We're still trying to bottom in the C wave, but in my opinion, if we do not manage to stay above 44.7 cents, which is the last support zone for the second wave move down of this 1-2 setup, we're probably gonna invalidate the entire 1-2 setup, and then after that I could see the price even dropping to 38.6 cents to test the much bigger 0.786 support level. And as long as we stay above this level, I think we're still fine. And I think on the much bigger time frame right here on the daily, we are still gonna start the third wave of the third wave, but breaking below it and also breaking below the trend line right there on the weekly RSI is probably gonna tell us that maybe the top is already in, and right now we could be in some kind of maybe 1, 2, 3 setup or an ABC to the downside for the much bigger 1-2 setup here. And I don't want to be the breaker of bad news, but if that happens, Cardano has a big chance of dropping to 13 cents in the bear market, so obviously I'm not gonna hold it if that happens, but I'm gonna make sure to let you know if something like that is gonna happen, because for the time being we are still above support, meaning that I'm still expecting a move to the upside, but only after Bitcoin dominance starts going down. Speaking of Bitcoin dominance, it's still trying to test the moving average on the weekly RSI, and dropping below it could lead to a much bigger move to the downside. As you know from the past, each time we have a big move to the downside on the Bitcoin dominance chart, that's when the altcoins go crazy. For example, back in 2021, the altcoin season only started when this move happened, and back in 2017 it was the exact same thing in this area. So that's what I'm waiting for, but please understand that if we actually start going down a lot on the Bitcoin dominance chart and during that time Bitcoin also goes down, it could be that maybe we're not gonna get the altcoin season, but Bitcoin dominance is still gonna drop because the altcoins might just go down a bit less than Bitcoin, but that's not bullish in my opinion, that's still pretty bearish. But I am expecting Bitcoin dominance to be between 45% and 41% by January, because usually when a bear market starts, Bitcoin dominance is at cycle lows and not at cycle highs. So I'm still expecting a move like this, but I'm not really sure what this move is gonna do. But as I mentioned yesterday, I do not believe that we are in a bear market, at least not yet. I cannot confirm that a bear market has started because here we have not closed 2 weeks below the trend line on the weekly RSI, meaning that for the time being we could always get a reversal and we could always get back above the trend line. And if we do, the next target is gonna be the moving average on the RSI and then the bull market support band, and breaking above them could mean that maybe Bitcoin is still gonna get all-time highs. But please be careful because we already closed a week below the trend line, so if Bitcoin does not manage to close above $100,000 by the end of Sunday, then I think the bull market is over. But even if it is, like I mentioned again yesterday, we're probably gonna get a move to the upside at some point, because usually when a bear market starts it gets an ABC structure. For example, back in 2021 it was an ABC structure over here. So first we got below the bull market support band, we then tested it, and this was a pretty significant move to the upside from $33,000 to $48,000, and only after we tested the bull market support band, that's when the C wave to the downside happened. And the exact same thing happened back in 2017 over here. So after we dropped below the trend line right here on the RSI, which I talked about in my previous videos, we tested the trend line after that, and we even got above the bull market support band, and we went from $6,000 all the way up to $12,000. This was an AB structure, and then after we got rejected by the bull market support band, that led to the much bigger C wave to the downside. And again, that's exactly what happened back in 2013. We broke below the bull market support band, we then got a move above it, and then after that we got rejected, and that's what led to the much bigger C wave of this AB structure. So I think even if we're in a bear market right now, we're still gonna get an ABC structure, and the B wave could happen at any moment. But again, I'm not saying that we're in a bear market because so far we don't have any confirmation of that. So other than that, there's not much else you need to know, other than the fact that maybe Ethereum right now could get a bounce because it's approaching the 0.618 support level for the fourth wave move down. So as long as we manage to stay above that level, I think we could always get to the fifth wave of the fifth wave, which is expected to break the previous 2021 all-time highs and maybe even top between $6,500 and $8,000. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.